I'm now being joined by my guest, Mr. Babafemi, who is the chairman of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria Southwest. Glad to have you join me, Mr. Babafemi. Okay. Okay, if you can hear me, Mr. Babafemi, what in your own perspective, your own point of view, would you say are some of the challenges, farmers are facing when it comes to cultivating crops in Nigeria?
Thanks, my moderator, for the laudable question as regards crops and the challenges we have in the agri sector. From years memorial, we could see that there was neglect when Nigeria believed oil could solve the problem. And after we were a bit disappointed some years, a couple of years back, we have to come back into agriculture. But for what we are talking about, we discovered that from the neglect, there are a lot of hindrances and other problems of which we have encountered and which we are going to talk about. Firstly, cultivations of land. The lands of which we thought we are going to cultivate, are they available? What are we doing with it? Is government doing giving us the enabling environment to cultivate those lands? The machineries, are they available? Transportation to the farmlands, those are very, very paramount things. If we could see vividly within the couple of months back for these inceptions of this new government again, we discovered there is high cost of in the PMS. With this one, it has even eroded. It has even given us more challenges in the areas of this agriculture, especially bringing our produce from the farm to the farm gate, from the farm gate to the producer. So mechanizations, as I've said, is there. The era of what our hoes and cutlasses has done. How many of us have been trained? The governments of which we have highlighted, they are just trying to do a little of what they could. But we believe with this present government, for declaring state of emergency in July 19 or so precisely, that the food security in Nigeria is a challenge of which we have to take note about. So we are
Babafemi, because of our time, and I have a couple of questions for you to answer. Let me move to some of the challenges which you have not mentioned. You talked about land. Now I want to talk about something else, very critical, which is the challenges of flooding and as well as desertification. How do you think these challenges can be effectively addressed to protect these agricultural lands and also promote food security?
Mentioned when I talk of land, I mean governments have to take a measure in addressing this land. Very many of lands have been acquired by the federal government, but they were underutilized. They can easily annex it through their governor of the state and through the community leaders, through the villagers. Many of the lands that have been acquired, we remember the period of AFAN, Operation Feed the Nation. Very many lands were being acquired, but are they being utilized? No. So those are the areas where farmers needed, because it will be difficult for us to go into the land that someone have acquired are now being accessible. It might be the period of which you have invested on that they will now tell you they want to use their land. So we want priority in this area, that government, both the federal and the state, should annex to give a proper presentation in this area. Then, as I've mentioned, mechanization is another key area. It belongs that we've been using hoes and cutlasses. Let there be a training, a capacity training on these areas, where farmers will be trained on small scale. The smallholder farmers are the ones taking much on the cognizance of the food that we are eating in Nigeria. So let them pay more concentration on smallholder farmers by taking their needs, especially in the area of funding. Funding is very paramount. When needed, when request for, It shouldn't be the time of when the period of the to be used as expired is not mean that they will not ask you to come. And the area of this, what I'm trying to say in that sense is let government strengthen Bank of Agric. Bank of Agric is our bank, and we believe in that. They have brought in some other innovation like NISA and other what have you through the Central Bank of Nigeria. But we believe we have failed in this area because it's not of benefit to many of our farmers. But we believe that if this new government could strengthen, could now highlight it with the umbrella body of the Farmers Association, which is all farmers associations, we will get a result. And there will be food on the tables of every Nigerian. I can assure you that.
Mr. Babafemi, okay, beyond land allocation, to farmers, one problem that has continued to rear its head is the challenge we have between herdsmen and the local farmers. What policies or laws do you think governments can put in place to help mitigate the crisis or conflict between herdsmen and the local farmers?
Yes, I can agree with that. The herdsmen of which we are talking about, they are our farmers. Very many of them will know each other. Most of these people are not from air. They are not from thin air. We know ourselves in every community. The only areas of which we are talking about, if local vigilante, it could be strengthened through our farmers. We have hunters, and we know every terrain of our community. So we could address that individually if we have been pushing up by the umbrella body to giving the strength. Thanks to the present government, about 2-3 weeks ago, they've just inaugurated the presidential committee in these herdsmen and farmers. And I'm sure very, very many of our farmers have been talking to each other. Those herdsmen, there's no person where we like to cultivate land and for a livestock farmer to and destroy, to come and eat. We don't. That was the area where I was talking about. That we know each other. We know ourselves in the community. So we should be strengthened. We should be able to be allowed to bring in the government to settle on which we are. There was a meeting recently through our former governor.
All right. Thank you very much for your insight, Mr. Babafemi Oke, Chairman of the Farmers Association of Nigeria for the Southwest. Thank you.